Alright, what is up everybody? Welcome to the channel. The following video is pretty long. I ended up going through all the campaigns and every story aspect I could find in regards to reading the almost every scenario and all their flavor texts. Basically, this is going to be the bottom line up front. I'm really into story. I think Marvel Champions has a very unique aspect, as in us as a community have got a plus because we within the campaigns are little comics, but there's a grander story that they're telling, and it's a universe all within Marvel Champions. It's not something pulled out from other comics or other stories like the MCU, for instance, which I think is phenomenal. And I know people like work on theme a lot, and like this hero was playing this one because it makes sense. It's very thematic type of deal. But really, I think it's more important of getting into the story of what's going on within the scenario. And that's what I kind of talk into while I go through each scenario within the game. That's the bottom line up front, especially if you don't want to watch the whole hour. It is long, I get that. But if you do watch it, I appreciate it. Please hit that like and subscribe. I think it's great content, the story that they're telling through each campaign box. It's amazing. They're doing a great job, even though it's very short, but we get to live through it, which is another awesome thing. We get to replay it over and over again with different heroes, which is another awesome thing. So please, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for watching it if you do. Otherwise, enjoy the video. Deuces. What is up, everybody? So recently I have had a shower thought that nobody talks about the campaign stories of Marvel Champions. The stories that happen within Marvel Champions themselves. They're always talking about, I mean, they kind of talk about it when they rank villains, because the scenario kind of goes off how the villain works, which makes sense, but I'm kind of digging deeper into each campaign box and how it may have hints for what the next expansion is. Because each campaign, even the core box, has a story that it's telling. Obviously, because there's the little comic that you read through. But I mean, the scenarios have stories within each scenario, each box that has a story. And I think at the end of one, it kind of gives a hint to what's coming next, if the theme relates. I'll get into that here. Let's go over the core set here and show you what I'm talking about with the story within that one. Alright, so here we are in the first scenario ever, Rhino. First thing on here, Rhino is attacking a shield facility. Okay, cool. Moving on, Rhino is trying to smash through the facility wall and steal a shipment of vibranium. You must stop him. So that's main scenario. There's only one, or main scheme. There's only one. That's all you gotta do is then defeat him. Okay, moving on from that, we go to Claw. The attack on the shield facility has been linked to an underground weapons network. So Claw was attacking a shield facility for, or not Claw, Rhino was attacking a shield facility for Claw. And then if we move on, your investigation reveals that the criminal enterprise is operated by Claw, an old rival of the Avengers. Okay, he has two parts, two main schemes. So if you push for, if he schemes out, Claw has found a buyer for his illegal weapons. It's up to you to stop the sale, but the meeting is surrounded by Claw's cronies. We don't know who he is. Who knows? Nobody knows. Claw is meeting with the Crimson Cowl. Claw and the mysterious figure dart into the shadows when you confront them, and Claw's minions move to cover their escape. That's not what I wanted. Alright, moving on to Ultron. It even says Claws right here. Claw's mysterious red-hooded employer is really the genocidal android Ultron. So it just moves on to another story. And even his main schemes are a story. Ultron is using the components Claw delivered in order to build an army of Ultron drones. As you assault on NORAD, as you pursue Ultron, you receive a distress call from the North American Aerospace Defense Command in Colorado. They are besieged by an army of Ultron clones. And assault on NORAD. If Ultron gains of NORAD, he will have access to the United States Ballistic Missile Command. Countdown to Oblivion. Ultron has seized control of NORAD. It's only a matter of time before he overcomes the command safeguards and launches the nuclear arsenal. It's up to you to save the world from nuclear Armageddon. So all three scenarios in the core box are its own little campaign, even though it doesn't have the little comic book or the campaign aspect that all the other expansions do. It itself is still a campaign, at least in my eyes, hopefully yours. And that's how it works. And then this doesn't really give a clue to what the next expansion is going to be, but I think the heroes kind of do, because there's 5 Avengers in there, and I think it's the start of Marvel Champions, so they're going to lean on the Avengers, and I think all the heroes after that are Avenger based. And then the next 2 heroes in the next campaign box are Avengers as well. Now we're going to be getting into Red Skull to kind of pinpoint what I was talking about with it leans into what's going to be in the next campaign box after the Rise of Red Skull. Here are the main schemes throughout. They are attacking on Mount Athena. Crossbones is leading an army of Hydra soldiers in a direct assault on the Project Pegasus facility in the I can't say this, Adirondack Mountains. May have pronounced that wrong. So you gotta take care of that. Next one, inside the Project Pegasus facility, SHIELD agents fight desperately to prevent Hydra from obtaining the Reality Stone stored within. So Reality Stone. So you're thinking stones now, because that's what it is. So they have pushed through the defenses, and now they're in the facility trying to get the stone. There's nothing else here. Next one, Hydra has seized the Infinity Stone, and Crossbones orders their withdrawal. You must stop them before they escape. Now they're trying to flee. This one doesn't have anything on it, but they get away, obviously. That's what it is. And we can even look at the campaign story, which I'm not going to read it all, but they're being attacked. Obviously, if you defeat him, there's a little cool thing. You defeated him, yada yada. And then you have the Absorbing Man who comes in after him. Absorbing Man, there's nothing here. None shall pass. Well, he actually has no story elements in here. That's interesting. Or no flavor text. So he has no flavor text. So none shall pass. So essentially in the story, or in the comic, Crossbones was just giving time for Hydra to make off with the stone. So Crossbones was a distraction. And in order to chase after the stone, Absorbing Man is here to kind of, not prevent us? Well, yeah, prevent us from getting to the stone. And this leans into his, I already got rid of it. Leans into his scenario of, he has like a countdown timer within his deck. It doesn't say here. I can't think of what it's called. Apologies. But you add a time on there, and the longer you take, the more harder it is to defeat him, or the more his cards in his deck harm you. That's kind of the theme of the encounter. And then we go next. We defeat him, yada yada, and then we have to. And then we notice the Avengers notice something changes. Then they notice everything has changed. Hydra has taken command, and as they get to the tower, they get shot down by Taskmaster. Is there flavor text on here? Oh, there is. The notorious Taskmaster has been appointed Hydra's chief of police. His top priority is hunting down the outlaw heroes. So this one, you're trying to save heroes that are being arrested, I guess, in this point, by Taskmaster. There's only one main scheme, but that's pretty much, you need to defeat him so you can essentially save the other heroes that are being arrested. Once that's defeated, you defeat him, and then you have to go straight to Red Skull. But in the meantime, you get into attack with Dr. Zola. And what does he have for flavor text? Let's see. He doesn't. Oh, not for the first one anyways, but the Mad Doctor. Here we go. Yeah, the island of Dr. Sola. So you get to the island and you're trying to get to the Mad Doctor. Zola's mutates attack you with the blind obedience and savage fury. It's up to you to put an end to this nightmare before the Mad Doctor unleashes them upon the world. And that's that. So you're going to defeat him, and then you're finally going to move on over to Red Skull. And then, obviously, he is at the White House, because that's how he changed his reality. And then you go to attack him, and he's ready. What do we got for flavor text? Red Skull plans to conquer the world with the power of the Reality Stone. He uses his strategic genius to keep you busy while he works towards his goal. He uses this by side schemes. The Red Skull is one step closer to unlocking the full power of the Infinity Stone, because that's what they've been working on. You need to stop him before he does, and all reality is bent to his evil will. This is the last one, I believe, yeah? Yep. So you gotta defeat him before he takes over the world. Let's take a look at the final glimpse here. Let's see. They got victory, and then the last panel. What's bothering you, Tony? Hydra near. They conquered the world with that stone. What if there are more stones out there? So this is leading into thoughts and questions about the next campaign will be. Obviously, your mind is wrapped around the stones. What can you do with the stones, or who has the stones? I mean, looking at the past, obviously there's a lot of options there, and what they lead to is Galaxy's Most Wanted, the Guardians, and what they got going on. So the story moves on to the Guardians. Actually, it continues with an Avenger, Captain Marvel. At Earth's orbit. And they are being attacked by the Drang army, correct? Or Drang's army. And the Guardians appear. And then the Brotherhood of Bandoon, we have to take care of that. And what do they do? Let's check out there. Drang's overwhelming forces have mounted a surprise attack against Earth. So they're attacking Earth. We're assuming it doesn't specify for their Reality Stone. The Badoon have punched through Earth's defenses. Beat them before it's too late. Is that all there? That's all there for Badoon. Okay, so then we move on to... Wait, we already looked at that one. Next one, we defeat them. And then there's not the Badoon were sent to Earth, there we go, by the Collector to capture the Reality Stone. There we go, we're back into the story. He wants to collect all the Infinity Stones, and he already has the Power Stone. See here, there's another stone. There we go. And then we have to break into the museum. Everybody's favorite encounter. So let's see what these are. Looks like there's nothing there. Okay, there's no flavor text in this one. So what is not what I wanted. But there is my background. Alright, so you infiltrate it. You get captured. And the Power Stone has been stolen by us. And then we have to escape the museum. So let's open this bad boy up again. So I don't think there's any flavor. There it is. You've been trapped inside the Collector's Museum. Before you can escape, you must find the Milano. So so each scenario is like a mini story within the campaign, which I also love. The Milano is being held in a massive container. You try to pry open the side, but ultimately resolve to smash in the glass as hard as you can. Now that you've broken the Milano out of its cage, use it to find the front door. You found the exit. As the Milano bursts into space and raises its thrusters, you see the museum ship's cannons beginning to charge. So this was the first scenario where you actually had to get through the main schemes in order to win the game, which is a very cool concept, which I still quite enjoy today. And then you escape with the Power Stone. I do believe, from remembering, there's even little blips in here that tell you. And so yeah, so then we're gonna move on. So here we go. We beat him. We're taking off. So Nebula stole it. Okay. Sorry if I do not remember these quite before, because I haven't read these since then. So whoever took the Power Stone cut the museum's power as a distraction. So then we broke out. The Collector was focused on us, so Nebula was able to escape the stone. And surprisingly, well, not surprisingly, we catch up. So we face Nebula. So you get the Ranger Museum. The Milano sensors pick up another speeding ship. That's going to be Nebula with the stone. So then we go after Nebula. What does she have for scenarios? You've tracked Nebula's location, but she's trying to desperately to get away. This may be your only chance to take the Power Stone from her. And then she's trying to evade you, which come in the evasion counters. With expert precision, Nebula's ship pitches and yaws, outmaneuvering the Milano, putting Nebula just far enough away that she might have a chance to escape. Which is also a very nice detail that you can use. Where is it? Oh no, it's on the next one. Nebula's engines are primed and ready. Take them out before she warp jumps. It's right here. Yep, you can use the Milano, spend 2 resources, remove 1 evasion counter from you. So you're using the ship to keep basically in range of Nebula's ship, which is a very fun theme. And then once you take her out, who do we got to deal with? We got not him. We got Ronan on our tail for the Power Stone. Yep. With a sigh of relief, we kick back. We relax. As nowhere comes into sight, a massive Kree warship comes, and it's Ronan. He's attacking. What does his flavor text say? Ronan the Accuser's forces have ambushed the Milano, aiming to steal the Power Stone. With some quick wit and expert piloting, you may be able to halt their advance. Ronan the Accuser's ship has docked with yours, boarding the Milano. He makes 1 strike of his universal weapon to knock you off your feet. Before you're able to recover, he grabs the Power Stone. Ronan the Accuser holds the Power Stone, wrest it from his control before it's too late. And that's that. And I accidentally clicked out of it before I wanted to finish it. Okay, let's open this back up. Let's look at the last panel. What does this have to say after we defeat him? Okay, so what were you thinking when you stole this stone? You know you can't just sell something like that. I had to tell my crew something. You know what will happen if our father learns where it is. So now we're leaning more into the stones and what's going on in their father, Thanos. So ultimately, you can guess on the next box, Thanos is going to appear. And who else? Pretty much his whole gang. So let's go into here. So he gets told the Infinity Stones belong to him, yada yada. Power Stone has been found on Nowhere. Then take a battalion to Nowhere, bring me the stone. Guardians of Space Comma, we are being attacked. Send help. So the first scenario is Ebony Maw. Ebony Maw leads an assault on Nowhere in order to capture the Power Stone stored within. Check those flavor texts. Ebony Maw uses his powerful magic to occupy you while his agents search for the Power Stone. And that's it for that. So we'll jump back to this. It doesn't have anything there. Okay. Alright, so yada yada. We have a glimpse of Loki being involved in here. So, oh boy, what's Loki gonna do? Even though we already know he's in here. So, Loki gets the Power Stone. And then they tell him he's failed. And then he sends him off to Earth to collect the Reality Stone, which is there. And here we are, tower defense on the Avengers Tower. So that's under siege. Okay, there's nothing special on that text. Proxima Midnight leads the Black Order in a direct assault on Avengers Tower. Corvus Glaive directs his forces from the front, using his tactical genius to counter the Avengers' defense. So there's 2 schemes. One's kind of like on the ground, and the other one is right at the tower, which is very thematic, which I love. I love it when you actually think about what's going on within the encounter. It's a lot more fun. Especially with the environment. Avengers Tower is not damaged and then damaged, which is a really cool aspect. Especially when it's raining. I never looked at that picture. Is it raining on it? Anyways. So, you defeat the 2. And then we move on to... There's no flavor text at all. Camera. We defeated them to help out. We get the eyes on the stone, and Thanos is taking it by beating Iron Man. And he takes it, and then we chase after him on his large ship. We get the old Avengers Assemble. Let's go. So now we have to face Thanos. Excuse me. And then moving into this, Thanos has gathered all 6 Infinity Stones into the Infinity Gauntlet. He has only to master its power in order to enact his genocidal plan. Balance the scales. With a snap of his fingers, Thanos wiped out half of all life in the universe. If you can wrest the gauntlet from the Mad Titan, perhaps you can use its power to undo this tragedy. But if you fail, there will be no one left to stand against him. So what's really cool is the one revealed, you actually have to remove the top half of your deck from the game, which is very thematic, and I love it. And that's all for Thanos. So let's go back to this. Hey, the game's all over. We won. So we get to they give it to Adam Warlock. They celebrate, and then we realize it's Loki who now has the Infinity Gauntlet. Heimdall appears, tells him Loki sees the throne, and they're like, what? And then they go to Niflheim. And we realize Loki sent Odin to Hela. So now we have to save Odin from Hela, which is also a very interesting scenario. In order to rescue Odin, you must make a perilous journey through hell. That's the only main scheme. Which is also very thematic because you have to go through essentially different places. Yep. They're labeled as places. You gotta go through places and defeat their respective minion to finally get to Odin, save him, and then defeat Hela. Very thematic, I think, especially within the story. I did it again, didn't I? Moving on, we finally defeat her, and then we have to save his throne by going after Loki, and he is ready for us with the Infinity Gauntlet. Everybody's favorite scenario. They defeated Hela and rescued Odin from the dungeons of hell, but Loki still sits on the throne. Heimdall can take you to the Golden Realm, and the All-Father can offer you some protection from Loki's magic, but it is up to you to defeat the trickster god and secure the Infinity Stones. So here we go into the best encounter, which there's no flavor text here. Wow, there is none. No flavor text. Okay. Moving on, let's check the... Where'd I put it? Let's check the comic, if there's anything here. Throw him in the dungeon and lock the Infinity Gauntlet in the vault. Never again will it trouble the 9 realms. So they celebrate. Rocket and Groot get a ton of money. Yippee-yi-yay. Now within this one, there's no sign of what's next. It seems like this trilogy, I guess, is over. Or the first trilogy. And then we move into a one-box campaign, Sinister Motives. A really big hit, my favorite one. It's just one expansion. I think it was an in-between before the X-Men came to be. So we'll get into that. So Miles and Ghost Spider, Gwen, are just zipping through town, yada yada. And they get told about a problem they're having on 66. And they found out it's Sandman. So there's also stuff here, almost as if we were prepared for a fight. Sandman unleashes a deluge of dust upon you, sandblasting the surrounding buildings and filling large portions of the streets with tidal sands. Though people in the area try their hardest to escape, the surging sands become too much as the battle rages on. There are civilians in desperate need of rescue, so almost as if he was prepared for a fight. I mean, why wouldn't he? He's causing mischief. Anywho. Main scheme. Sandman floods the city streets with rushing sands, putting innocent bystanders in danger. Okay, that's the only scheme. The environment really puts into play what's going on. He's trying to cover the streets and basically keep the heroes occupied. with multiple different things. And then once he is defeated, we put him in a cell. So they're already talking about Osborn. You kidding me? I'm telling you, twerps, who my employer is or what they want. So they find out Osborn, and they leave. And then they go to Oscorp, and then they're attacked by Venom. Blinded by rage, Venom charges at you. However, from high atop Oscorp, you see an old bell tower, which can help you out. Alright, so then we fight Venom. Alright, upon spotting you, Venom goes into a frenzy, attacking you relentlessly and causing havoc around the city, even though you're on top of Oscorp. The environment is awesome. It has a bell, which is very thematic for Venom. And now we're moving on to, let's see what happens here. Alright, they hate Osborn. They thought they were working for him. What he did to them basically made him very angry. What did Osborn do to you? He ambushed us, captured us, used some device to turn pieces of us into his own symbiotic suit. But we can't promise that we won't crush you as soon as we finish with Osborn. So Venom teams up with them in order to go after Osborn because they're all mad at him now. And Mysterio shows up. Dun dun dun. Delving deeper into Oscorp, a maze of mirrors and phantom phobias obscure your path, confusing your perspective and forcing you to fight through a never-ending horde of hallucinations. And obviously, this is from Mysterio. Each turn of a corner reveals countless copies of yourself. Shattered pans rebound seamlessly to whole, and every attempt to circumnavigate the labyrinth forces you deeper within. Defeating Mysterio may be the only means of escape. Mysterio's manipulation of the mind has started to take its toll, blurring your perception of reality and fantasy. If you don't hurry, the hallucinations may become a permanent part of your psyche, leaving you forever trapped in a nightmare. This is very thematic, the story is. And the cards entering your deck is also very thematic, because you never know what you're going to pull. It's not going to be a part of your deck. It's a nightmare having those cards in your deck. Let's jump over to the campaign story. Alright, there's nothing very exceptional about the comic, I guess. It just goes straight to the next battle. Sinister Six just appears. Yeah. See, Mysterio disappears in a puff of smoke, revealing that you've been led into an underground silo. The stillness in the room quickly erupts into a chaotic melee as each member of the Sinister Six bursts from the darkness. Alright, so this one is basically we have to escape the Sinister Six. The six villains are more confident than ever, determined to bring about your end once and for all. Basically, Sinister beatdown, ambush, they keep coming after us. We have to get out of here. Light at the end, we're following the light, essentially. I mean, it's easy enough. And it gets harder as the more we flip. That says the player, when the last threat is removed, the players win the game. Very thematic. You're trying to escape the Sinister Six before they defeat you. Which brings us to our last encounter and the first ever appearance of Venom Goblin within Marvel, I believe. I couldn't find him anywhere else. Alright, so you escape to the top. Green Goblin's there, and then he made a device to bring the symbiote to him and become Venom Goblin. Using a device he completed during your slog through the Oscorp, Osborn finally twists the Venom symbiote to his will, binding with it. This triumvirate of terror takes to the skies of New York City, dropping symbiotic goo on unsuspecting citizens, attempting to create the army he was very previously denied. Alright, and then you fight him, and he's flying around, he's dropping stuff all over the place. Yeah, a global hub of commerce, many citizens. So basically, he's traveling around the city, Lower Manhattan, Midtown Manhattan, Upper Manhattan. So basically, he's going around trying to infect the city so he can infest himself upon their community and control the city. So you're trying to prevent this from happening while also defeating him. You're basically following him around. Very thematic, very fun, and very difficult. The ending, go easy on Ed Brock, he did help us after all. Yes, but that doesn't erase everything else he's done. We need to know where he's going. And Brock's going to want that back, you know. He won't need it where he's going. Leave this to me, kid. I'm good at what I do. Besides, it's late. Don't you have curfews or something? Up here, family, happy, happy, happy. There's nothing in here that says there's going to be another one. Sad to say. At least not right after this. Hopefully there is with other Spider Heroes. But this was a very good one-shot expansion pack. And then what comes next is the start of the next trilogy in Marvel Champions, Mutant Genesis. We go through, it all starts with just a rally, is that what I want to say? A rally about mutants and whatnot, and Senator Kelly gets attacked by the Brotherhood, mainly Sabretooth. So we jump into that one. I don't think there's much flavor text here, except stalked by Sabretooth, Robert Kelly is trying to run from him. Sabretooth has wounded Senator Kelly and continues to hound him. So obviously he's running. You gotta catch him and keep him in your area to protect. Get Robert Kelly to safety before Sabretooth finishes his job. If he loses play, he's defeated. Find the Senator. This is usually at the start of the encounter. Is that my phone? That was my phone. And by the time, and once you get him, he comes to your side, and you have to protect him. And Sabretooth is constantly attacking him, so you either have to defend or, basically defend, or stop, or stun him. Very thematic for the story. I really like it. And then we move on to the next. See, anti-hysteria sweeping across America. Nobody likes mutants right now, yada yada. Are you okay? Get your hand off me. And they're all mad because he's ungrateful. And then he makes a phone call. Hello, I can't pronounce that. It's Robert. We can't wait for the Congress anymore. It's time to launch Project Wide Awake. So all the Sentinels wake up. So the Senator starts Project Wide Awake later that night. Mutant hunting robots deploy across the United States. Using his telepathy, he directs the X-Men to stop the Sentinels and rescue as many of the captured mutants as they can. So then we move into Project Wide Awake, where they're searching for mutants. Doesn't look like there's any flavor text besides having to do what you gotta do, you know. Operation Zero Tolerance brings Jubilee's in there. Is this the one where she is? Where you flip her? I think so. It does. Where's the side schemes? Yeah, whatever. The side schemes come out basically telling you to rescue someone. And that leads us to the next. I did it again. Next scenario. So we saved a bunch of people. Magneto suddenly appeared. Hey, I need your help. We destroyed Sentinel production facility. Oh, you know where that is? Indeed. So they lead him off to the Sentinel production facility, which is then Master Mold. Reveals that he has discovered the secret location of the Sentinel factory and suggests he and the X-Men join forces to defeat their common foe. So you're going with him to fight Master Mold. Okay, let's not get this messed up. There we go. Is there any flavor text for these? There's right here. Master Mold's agenda. Master Mold's programming has backfired. Recognizing that mutants come from humans, the giant Sentinel is programming its offspring to subdue everyone on Earth. Okay. So we have to defeat him before he can come up with that idea. Not come up with that, execute that idea. So then moving on from that, we defeated him. Guy Rich is getting away. The guy, oh no you don't, you're leaving it. Leaving until you shut this thing down. And then Magneto takes Mastermind with him to Asteroid M. He used the X-Men to get Master Mold. And as a distraction, he unleashed his Brotherhood on the X-Mansion. So now we have to do that. So it says Magneto used his power of magnetism to lift Master Mold out of the subterranean facility. They try to prevent Magneto, but they are summoned back to X-Mansion where the Brotherhood is leading an assault on the school. And then we get into the next one. The Brotherhood strikes Mansion attack. Xavier and Stu is under attack by the Brotherhood of Mutants. The Brotherhood strike in unison, focusing their attack on, and then these are all randomized, the atrium, or the cafeteria, or the basketball court, or the courtyard, which is very thematic because you have to pretty much go to every location in order to stop the villain for that location to save the mansion. Obviously, for the scenario, you only have to do 2, but at higher levels, you have to do 3 or 4. Very fun scenario, I think. Having to defeat, very thematic in my mind, actually. Very thematic, very fun. And then once that's completed, we get raced off to Asteroid M. They're all captured, you can see. It's funny. And then we fly up into space. Alright. The Master Magnetism used that time to install Master Mold into his orbital fortress. Magneto begins reprogramming the Sentinel Factory to create new M-type Sentinels, human hunting robots. Back at X Mansion, the Mutant Forge finishes making upgrades to the X-Men supersonic jet so they can fly into space. Professor X wishes them luck as they best off to confront his old friend and deadliest foe. And then we face Magneto, which is very thematic, I think, because is it side schemes, I believe? You have to thwart side schemes in order to defeat Magneto by weakening his systems. There's not any flavor text here on the main scheme, but you can see Asteroid M. You're getting to Asteroid M. I guess that's the only flavor text. And then if that gets completed, the factory is online. He plays a magnet counter on him. And then if he completes that scheme, the Rule of Magnus, the final scheme that you have to defeat Magneto, so this doesn't happen. Boarding party, this is where it is, where you can't defend him. Here's flavor text. To stop Magneto's nefarious plan, you must first board Asteroid M. Sabotage Master Mold. Master Mold has been reprogrammed. You must take it offline before it can create human hunting sentinels. Which these kind of contradict each other, because if you complete this, and then it goes over to the next main scheme where it's online, but that's fine. Magneto is an indomitable foe. The only way to ensure his defeat is to destroy his asteroid base by crashing it to Earth, which is very thematic as well. Now you can actually deal all the damage to him. Well, no, not technically. You can defeat the first stage of him until you complete this scheme, and then he is able to be defeated with this. He loses steady. Yeah. And then going back to the campaign. End of the line, Bob. Oh my stars. It's time to go. That was close. Let's go home, mes amis. I can't speak French. Still no intel on Magneto or the X-Men Senator, but I have the report you requested. Talk. Blast. This will set our Sentinel program back at least 4 years. If you're looking for a solution to the mutant problem, may I suggest something more sinister? So that clearly points off to what the next campaign box is going to be about. I mean, they've been pretty good on kind of giving you a real glimpse of what the next campaign is going to be. Like this one's going to have Mr. Sinister, and if you know any of the lore, I really don't. You probably can figure that he works with Strife, or maybe he doesn't. I don't know the lore on that very well, so I could be completely wrong. Regardless, that brings us to Next Evolution. Next Evolution, we are hanging out with the X-Force guys. Grey Malik, Earth orbit. There's a lot of things orbiting Earth, I guess. So they find out that Hope is in trouble. Right? Hope, yeah. Oh, someone's attacking Morlock tunnels. So, yep, so they teleport there. Easy enough. Morlocks, a group of shunned mutants, live in exile, forgotten tunnels beneath New York City, are under siege by the mutant mercenary group known as the Mortars. Hope Summers and members of the X-Men adopt It was checking on the Morlocks in the wake of recent Sentinel attacks. So this follows basically right after Mutant Genesis. You leap into action. Cool, so that brings us to the first scenario, which these next two scenarios aren't the best, but they're still pretty good. Any flavor text? It doesn't look like it, which is fine, but it's very thematic because they're trying to knock down the door, and once they do so, they are going after the mortars. So you have to defeat 3 villains, I believe. There are 3 villains under routed the game. Yep, 3 villains. So that's basically the scenario. Pretty simple, pretty easy. Still very fun. That's not what we want. There we go. Alright, everything's defeated. Proceed with caution, team. Let's nail these punks. So now mortars are on the run. You pursue the mortars to an abandoned construction site on the surface. You crash their attempt to hand Hope over to the Nasty Boys' known henchmen. The mortar holding Hope captive tries to escape while the combined forces of the Nasty Boys and other mortars cover their retreat. Now we move into On the Run. It's very thematic because Hope is captured. Having taken a pounding, the mortars redouble their efforts to escape with their captive. And if you rescue Hope, or is it when you defeat it? When a villain would attack you, when the villain would be defeated, reset attach villain's hit points to its current hit point value, flip this card and reveal it. Alright, so they get plus 6 hit points, kind of making them harder, which is good since you're progressing through the story of the scenario. It's a scheme to stage 2A. This effect cannot be cancelled, so they're trying to run. Okay, that's an attachment. Going back to the booklet. Alright, we stopped the mortars, we saved Hope. Can't get past his... Can't get through his mind because something's blocking Psylocke. They see an orphanage, a stay-home for foundlings. Hope that's enough. We'll discuss what you just did later. Now you're going home. Like hell I am. We may need Hope's help to uncover the plot. Fine, Professor. Locate the stay-home for foundlings and body slide us. So we go to the home. And as we enter, boom. Juggernaut comes out. Alright. You travel to the Omaha with Hope as your side to discover stay-home foundlings is a run-down, seemingly abandoned orphanage. You are just about to enter the orphanage when the doors explode outward. And we see Juggernaut, which is another fun scenario. Let's see. So his main scheme cannot scheme out to lose the game. He just keeps attacking. He keeps pounding you until you're kaput, which is very thematic for Juggernaut. It's very fun. There are no flavor text, but he has a helmet, which when you remove, you can deal more damage to him as long as you have printed mental resource, because you can attack his brain, which is very thematic. Very fun scenario, I think. Kind of easy with Hope as a requirement, but still very fun. And then that makes us move on to the next scheme. So now we're in the orphanage, seeing what's going on. Wait, I think I found something. At last, my final test subject has arrived. Don't worry, Hope. This won't hurt much. So you take the elevator to the doors open and reveal a vast cavern system filled with high-tech equipment, glistening medical instruments, and most disturbing, dozens of vats holding unconscious people suspended in glowing fluid. Standing in the middle of the sprawling laboratory is a grinning Mr. Sinister. So here we fight Mr. Sinister. Any flavor text here? Yes. The secret laboratory hidden deep below the abandoned orphanage is filled with vats containing innocent mutants, subjects of sinister experiments. Mr. Sinister sets about incorporating another mutant's DNA into his own genome. No flavor text here. Same flavor text because you're adding different, depending on what's on this side, different super strength, telepathy, or flight into it as you progress through the either main scheme or defeating him, which is very thematic and very fun. I just realized these other pictures are different. That's cool. Someone with wings, super strength, big buff guy, and some guy with glowing eyeballs, telepathy. All right. Gaze upon my power in despair. Sinister cackles. Once I add Hope's mutation into my genetic code, I will be capable of mimicking any mutant's powers and thus will have attained perfection. I should thank you, Sinister Steers. You've done what my bumbling flunkies could not. You brought me Hope. So he wanted Hope all along. So now we have to defeat him before he can take Hope into his clutches. Let's go back to the campaign log. We defeated him. He's getting away. We go after her. No, she's responsible. I'll go alone. So we technically didn't save Hope because he ran away, but he was still being defeated. You're right. We go together. If it isn't Cave of my inferior copy, you're the clone Strife. Lies. You stole my rightful place in the Summers family. Now I will take your family from you. So now we fight Strife. On the other side of the portal, you find an unconscious Sinister lying at the feet of the mutant Strife, a clone of Cable. Hope tries to mimic Strife's telepathic powers to free herself from his grasp, but his power is too great and threatens to overwhelm her with explosive result. Too much power within her. Strife is a very unique encounter. Hope tries to mimic Strife's abilities, but is quickly overwhelmed by the power. So she's literally getting too much energy and she might blow. Left to your fate. Hope breaks free from Strife's grasp, but she struggles to contain his powerful psionic energies. I will leave Hope to finish the job of killing you all. Strife laughs. I have work to do bringing about the apocalypse. Before you even look at the campaign book, there's a hint to what's coming next. Strife is attempting to escape into the past. Who knows what havoc he will wreak. So now we have to defeat Havoc. Here's the side scheme. Strife scraps. He's holding her. And Living Bomb. Mimicking Strife's power is too much for Hope to control and threatens to overwhelm her with explosive results. Okay, that's there. Yeah, that is Strife. Let's look at the finale. We defeated him, and then we decided to go back through the portal, back to our own time, to find out Xavier's school was attacked by Apocalypse. And that leads us into the next campaign, which this clearly gives you an idea of what's coming, and we're going to have to fight Apocalypse. Who does that entail? Well, if you know the lore, then you can probably throw out some guesses before they even announce anything. So the Age of Apocalypse. If we get into the story, yada yada, it continues straight after, and the army of Unis shows up, and we have to do that. X-Force travel to the future to rescue Hope Summers. Something happened while they were displaced in time. Now they find themselves trapped in an alternate timeline ruined by the genocidal apocalypse, and they are under attack from one of his prelates, Unis. Let's see what flavor text they have, if they have any. Prelate Unis and his squad of Infinites scour the ruins of the X Mansion for the enemies of Apocalypse. Okay, that's the only main scheme. So basically, when they defeat allies, they get stronger. I don't know if the side scheme's here. It is, but we're not going to look for it. So, because that's what they want. They want to defeat the enemies of Apocalypse. So defeating allies is very thematic for the story and for the theme that this campaign box is going for. So then you defeat Unis. And then with that, that's why they call them Infinites. Everyone rally on me, magic, get us out of here. Welcome to the Resistance, X-Peeps. Who are you? Where have you taken us? We are the X-Men, and this is our home. Magneto, what happened to Professor X? So this is actually a good foreshadowing of of Magneto coming as a hero pack. And he's pretty dark, so that can kind of give you a glimpse of what's coming next, but we already know. So even within the comics, you can almost guess who the, what are they called, shadows? There's another word for it. Shadows of the hero is going to be. That's an idea. Alright. So he's telling the story of Charles dying in Cairo years ago, and then Apocalypse taking over. As they're discussing this, look, he's talking on a thingy. And then, bam, the Four Horsemen appear. Magneto explains the long war of attrition, X-Force Junction, but before he can detail his plan, the walls of their headquarters are violently blown open. Apocalypse has located Magneto's secret headquarters and ordered his Four Horsemen to destroy the X-Men once and for all. Thinking about something. So now we get into the Four Horsemen, a scenario that I actually like. The Four Horsemen are the most brutal servants of Apocalypse. They strike in turn, using their powers as a team. So the active token keeps moving along with being with them activating or with encounter cards, which is pretty cool. And then they each come up with their own side schemes out, which is pretty fun and very thematic, especially when you defeat it. So War uses the shockwave created by his arms to keep his opponents off balance. So when you defeat it, you have to lose an upgrade or support. Famine. The mere touch of famine leaves even the strongest mutant enfeebled. And if you defeat this, you have to discard the top 10 of your deck. Your deck has gotten weaker. Pestilence uses her power to make her enemies sick and helpless. The player defeated this scheme treats their identity's text box as if it were blank until the next villain state, so you can't use your abilities because you're weak. The Shadow of Death drives fear into the hearts of those he hunts. The player who defeated this scheme deals 1 damage to each character they control. This one's kind of not that bad. I feel like it might be a little bit more should be more because it's death after all. Okay. So then, that is the hero. There was some flavor text. Going back to the campaign box. What news from the Horsemen? They have been defeated. Horsemen. They have been defeated, and the X-Men are on their way here. No matter, the strong survive. Apocalypse. Your time ends today. All right, having defeated the 4 Horsemen of Apocalypse, Magneto leads his X-Men and X-Force in a direct assault on the Tyrant himself. But before they can overthrow the ancient depot, they must fight their way through the heart of his empire in Old New York City and breach the gates of his towering citadel. Between the X-Men and the gates stands the full might of Apocalypse's army, led by his strongest prelates. So we need to stop the Apocalypse. Okay, we will go into that one. So the Age of Apocalypse. The time has come for a direct assault on Apocalypse and his towering citadel, and his prelates as minions, or big minions, I guess you could say. You have to get through. Heart of the Empire. Before you can challenge Apocalypse, you must fight your way through his tower. So you have to basically get through all these side schemes. The Towering Citadel, the Tyrant's Throne, and the main scheme keeps going up the farther you get in. Once that flips over, no longer worthy, he's weakened, you can defeat him now. After you defeat the prelates. Gosh darn it, I did it again. Okay. Apocalypse is down. Don't these guys know their boss is defeated? Read the campaign log, people. How long till you open that portal, McCoy? Oh, he reveals he's not the real McCoy. And then he's going to bring back Apocalypse. And X-23 tackles him in. When they hear of a time portal installed beneath the Apocalypse Citadel, they race to find it. It is not until they reach the machine and entrust Beast to operate it that he reveals he is not their Hank McCoy, but the Dark Beast who built the device for Apocalypse. He mocks the X-Men and announces his intention to travel back in time and ensure that his master rises again. But before he can properly calibrate the machine, X-Force tackles him through the portal, casting all of them adrift through time and space. Alright, we arrive at Cairo. Oh, no, wait. We have to fight Dark Beast first. Slow down, me. Slow down, Ziggy. Okay. Dark Beast activates his time machine to ensure the rise of Apocalypse, but your quick action ruins his calculations. You wrestle for control of the device as it transports you through time and space. That's the only main scheme. Very thematic because you are throwing in 3 different timelines at random, which is very, while you're trying to defeat Beast, which is very thematic, very fun, I think. I think he's a very fun villain to face. Moving on. I did it again. Okay. Okay, we defeat him. It doesn't really say how we figured out where we're going, though. Maybe it does. We find out that Apocalypse has the only cure for Professor X. Upon defeating Dark Beast, we control the time machine and calibrate to return them to their past and prevent Professor X from being assassinated. Just in time to witness the Professor being shot, putting the world on the path to the horrible future X-Force just escaped. After rushing Xavier to the hospital where he is stabilized, the gathered members of X-Force and X-Men learn that he has been infected with the same techno-organic virus that plagues half of Cable's body. If they cannot find the cure, the Professor and the future are doomed. Cable knows that only Apocalypse has the antidote, so he leads his team and the X-Men in a direct assault on the pyramid of En Sabanur. Alright, so our final encounter, N7 Noir, which is a lot easier than the other Apocalypse. Which, I don't know if it makes sense or not, because, well, maybe it does, because the other Apocalypse had time to get more powerful. But this one, he's kind of seen as a god, and has the power. I mean, he gets giant and different. So who knows? Within his high-tech pyramid, Apocalypse prepares for his ascension. So I guess he hasn't fully ascended yet. Which kind of makes sense since he's weaker than the original Apocalypse, not the original, the first one. You've seen what the future looks like if Apocalypse's influence is allowed to grow. It's up to you to stop the megalomaniac here and now. That's it for that. So let's bounce back to this. No, we already did that. Alright, not like this. I must escape and fight again. And then not this time. You thought yourself the strongest, but the X-Men are stronger. We have the cure. They cure Professor X, and everybody's happy. Welcome home, Chuck. Alright, and this is the end of the trilogy for the X-Men. There's no clues for what's next, even though we know what's next is Agents of Shield box. So I pretty much went through all of this because I think it's important to really lean into the stories of what Marvel Champions is producing. They're producing essentially their own comics that we get to play through, which I don't hear a lot of people talk about enough. And each one is very, very thematic for what the campaign box was looking to do. And it's something fun to look into as well, especially if you're playing a hero that revolves around that campaign box. Not saying the hero from that one, but like for this trilogy, the X-Men, for example. It kind of helps you get into the story a lot more, and also there's little hints, I think, within each campaign log on what's coming next, whether it be the Magneto that was in this one showing up as a hero pack, or just a little word at the end of the comic, like Apocalypse, knowing that Apocalypse is coming for the next one. Now, we don't know if Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will be a one-off or if it will be starting a trilogy. We'll have to wait and see, and I'm excited about that. So when you play Marvel Champions, don't forget about the story that it's telling. I think it's very important. And if you did sit through this hour-long video, I was not expecting it to be an hour, but here we are. I appreciate it very much. Let me know what you think of the story that Marvel Champions is telling, and what you think the future holds for the story-wise, wherever it does go. Other than that, thank you for sticking around for so long. I appreciate it. Please hit that like and subscribe, and we will see you next time. Deuces.